December 1939. A mystery at sea. British headlines are abuzz with a mystery. Where has the Altmark gone? After the Royal Navy's victory over the German warship Graf Spee at the Battle of the River Plate, their focus now shifts to tracking down its supply vessel, Altmark. On board are 299 British prisoners, whom the Royal Navy is determined to rescue. However, the Altmark evades capture, slipping away toward Europe and eventually entering Norwegian waters en route to Germany. The Norwegian authorities conduct 3 separate inspections before granting it safe passage, but the British have other plans. Ignoring Norwegian neutrality, they intercept the vessel, storm it, and free the prisoners. This Altmark incident throws Norway into the very predicament it was desperate to avoid. Both Britain and Germany now accuse Norway of favoring their opponent, leading each side to fear that the other might soon occupy the country. Norway's neutrality is now on the brink of collapse. Norway's dilemma at the outset of the war in September 1939, neither Britain and France nor Germany had given Norway much thought, though both sides assumed it would align with the Allies. Norway, however, declared its neutrality, with Foreign Minister Havden Koht hoping a policy of non-provocation would keep the country out of the conflict. Yet, despite this, Norway held strategic importance. By 1939, Germany was importing 22 million tons of iron ore annually, with 9 million tons coming from Sweden. During winter, the only viable route for transporting this ore was through Norway's port of Narvik. Britain identified this as a critical German vulnerability, believing that complete stoppage of Swedish exports of iron ore to Germany would, barring unpredictable developments, end the war in a few months. Har 26, the British considered several options: mining Norwegian waters, enforcing a naval blockade, or even occupying northern Norway and Sweden's ore fields. Initially, Britain sought Norwegian permission to land troops, but Oslo refused. Koht feared that British intervention would provoke a German military response, and he struggled to resist British pressure. Politically, ideologically, nationally and personally, my affinity, as well as that of the nation, rested with the Allies. Still, the British had a demanding attitude that was difficult to accept and continuously forced their issues onto us instead of negotiating affably. Har 19 instead, Britain and France found an alternative excuse: aiding Finland in the Winter War against the Soviet Union. They developed occupation plans under the pretense of helping Finland, but abandoned them in March 1940 once the Winter War ended. Britain runs out of options with other strategies failing. Some within the British government, especially First Lord of the Admiralty Winston Churchill, pushed for a bold move, laying mines in Norwegian waters and German rivers. If Germany retaliated, as expected, Britain had a backup plan, Operation R4, which would see troops rapidly occupying northern Norway. France was initially hesitant, but eventually agreed. If Germany attacked Norway, it could weaken their forces on the Western Front, an advantage for the Allies. By early April 1940, British troops stationed in Scotland were preparing to land at 3 locations along Norway's coast, anticipating a German reaction to the mine-laying operation. But before the British could act, Germany struck first. Germany's fears and motivations. Germany was equally concerned about the Narvik route and feared that Norway might cave to British diplomatic pressure. This fear was exacerbated by Vidkun Quisling, leader of Norway's fascist National Samling Party. In meetings with Hitler, Quisling greatly exaggerated the likelihood of a British-Norwegian alliance and even requested German assistance for a National Socialist coup. However, Hitler initially refused, as both the German Foreign Ministry and many generals distrusted Quisling and his self-proclaimed influence in Norway. Germany had additional motivations for occupying Norway. While preventing a British occupation remained the primary goal, securing Norwegian coastal bases would also enhance German naval operations. In January 1940, Hitler ordered preparations for Operation Weserübung. Under General Nicholas von Falkenhorst, German planners worked in secrecy, emphasizing swift and daring action. Hitler considered Operation Weserübung to be particularly daring, in fact, one of the rashest undertakings in the history of modern warfare. Precisely that would ensure its success. He described the state of anxiety he would feel until the success of the operation as one of the strongest nervous tensions of his life. Maudsley 33. The plan, accelerated by the Altmark incident, involved 8,850 troops aboard warships and 3,500 paratroopers to seize key Norwegian ports, cities, and airfields in a surprise assault. Germany would present this as a preemptive move against a British invasion, but troops were instructed to use all available force if they encountered Norwegian resistance. After securing Oslo, the Germans assumed King Haakon VII would surrender and legitimize the occupation. To safeguard supply lines, German forces would simultaneously invade Denmark. However, not everyone in the German military supported the plan. It was devised by a small circle under direct orders from Hitler, bypassing army, air force, and naval commands. The Luftwaffe resented being excluded from the planning, and some army officers objected to using troops meant for France's invasion. While the Navy backed the operation, they worried about British naval superiority. With intelligence suggesting Britain would soon act in Norway, Hitler set April 9 as D-Day for Weserübung. The race for Norway begins just as British troops were embarking for the R4 operation. German warships set sail across the North Sea. Both Britain and Norway received early warnings of the impending invasion. On April 8, a Polish submarine sank a German merchant ship transporting troops and supplies to Norway. The Norwegian Navy quickly reported signs of an invasion fleet, yet Oslo's focus remained on British mine-laying operations. Meanwhile, British intelligence picked up large-scale German naval movements, but misinterpreted them as an attempt to break into the North Sea. Their suspicions were reinforced when the British destroyer HMS Glowworm engaged a German fleet led by the heavy cruiser Admiral Hipper. In the ensuing battle, Glowworm was sunk, but not before ramming and severely damaging Hipper. Only then did Britain realize the German fleet was escorting an invasion force. However, by that point, the 6 German naval groups were already en route to their targets. It proved extremely costly for the German Navy. The loss of 10 destroyers, numerous supply ships, and damage to key warships left Germany with a weakened naval presence, which would have serious consequences in the Battle of the Atlantic. Moreover, securing Norway did not prevent the Royal Navy from maintaining superiority in the North Sea, and British forces would continue to harass German-controlled waters with naval and air operations. Strategically, Norway became both an asset and a liability for Germany. While it provided vital naval bases, airfields, and access to Swedish iron ore, it also stretched German resources thin. Maintaining an occupation force in Norway tied down thousands of troops that could have been deployed elsewhere, particularly on the Eastern Front after Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941. For the Allies, the Norway campaign was a humiliating defeat. It exposed British military unpreparedness and lack of coordination, leading to political consequences, most notably, the resignation of British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain in early May 1940, paving the way for Winston Churchill to take over. However, the campaign also served as an early lesson in amphibious warfare, which the Allies would refine in later operations such as the invasions of North Africa, Italy, and eventually Normandy in 1944. In the end, Weserübung was a tactical success but a strategic gamble for Germany. It secured Norway but at a high cost, weakening the Kriegsmarine at a crucial stage in the war. Meanwhile, for the Allies, the campaign was a costly miscalculation, but also a wake-up call that would push them toward greater military preparedness in the years to come.